What's up, everybody? It's me, Matt from Morning Hookah, here once again for another edition of the best way to smoke AF. And today we're going to be taking on a new idea of how to smoke AF. Not a new idea, this is a classic idea. Everyone smoked AF like this before, Fakher like this. But originally I only had three ideas. I had the HMD, Provost and Foil, and then the Gemini Bowl. It was all going to combine to that, and this third video is going to be the Gemini Bowl. Well, the third video is no longer going to be the Gemini Bowl because now we're going to be taking a look at a more traditional style of hookah. Instead of a funnel bowl, well, we're going to look at a traditional Egyptian, Turkish style bowl with just foil. This was actually recommended by Cameron. He said, hey, my favorite way to smoke it is just with a traditional bowl with foil and coals directly on top of it. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take a look at this cert bowl. Shout out to pittersmokeusa.com. That's where I got this bowl from. Very good bowl for AF. I've smoked it multiple times. Honestly, a good combination would probably be something like the Turkish bowl or traditional Egyptian bowl with HMD. That'd probably be a really good way to do it, but we're not going to worry about adding another one because I want to do this. I want to finish it in 4 weeks. 4 videos in a series is kind of the maximum that I want to go about, just because I think 4 is a good round number. It's not round, but it's even, and I think that's good. So we're going to take a look at this today. We are going to do the mix that we've done before in the past, which is the 2 apple and peach mix, because I really enjoy that. So we're going to go ahead and get down, dirty, and into it and start smoking it. Probably not going to make this as long a video because you should all know the idea behind this video series. If you don't know the idea behind this video series, go take a look at the previous 2 videos. The first one on HMD, the second one on Provost and Foil, and you'll have a much better idea of what it is we're doing here in terms of the this video and this whole thing. So go take a look at those. But let's get into it and let's smoke. Let's smoke with the Turkish bowl. Time to rock and roll. Okay, so as you already saw me load the bowl, it has now been loaded. I got the coals, and the coals are actually sitting on a Provost right here, but I'm not using that Provost to smoke, which just feels weird. This just feels very, very weird. But I'm going to put these charcoal directly on it. It is a little weird, all right? So I'm getting my bearings at the moment, but let's go ahead and start smoking. Let it warmed up for just a minute. And let's go. Immediately when you smoke with charcoal on the foil, you may need to immediately adjust them ever so slightly to wherever you may need to. So for this one, I'm gonna take the coals, I'm gonna push them outwards just a little bit more. So where they were a little bit closer in, I pushed them just a little more outward now. You can definitely fine-tune your smoking a little bit more in terms of just having coals directly on the foil, where the Provost, while you still can have a lot of alteration to it, it's a much smaller area for comparatively to a lot of bowls. Now if you're putting this on top of a smaller bowl, it's going to be the same regardless, but like this bowl is larger than what this is, so I have more room to play with using the bowl surface as comparatively to using the surface area of the Provost instead. Same thing with like the HMD, right? The HMD is a little bit smaller on the inside of it comparatively to like a regular bowl, especially this bowl in particular, which has a large diameter on it. So you definitely get a little bit more fine-tune on where you're placing the heat and your and the charcoal and stuff. This doesn't immediately blow me away. It does not immediately blow me away the way that like the HMD does, which is just very much a very full flavor immediately, very quickly. The strength of the flavors there very fast, even faster. This is, I would say, very similar to using the Provost on the bowl as it was, and it's not bad by any stretch. It's still coming through. The flavor is wonderful. The 2 apple and peach flavor. If you haven't tried it yet, you got to try it because it's so good. But like, I still would say that I prefer smoking with an HMD with this. Like this is still good. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to smoke it and I'm going to enjoy it. But I definitely still prefer just using a pure HMD on top of this in comparison to using just foil and just coals on top of the foil. It's definitely a throwback. It's definitely something that like I don't do very often and stuff. But if I'm smoking AF, I still feel like my preferred way of smoking it is going to be that HMD. I would say this is actually just a little bit below using a Provost. I still, maybe it's a comfort thing, but I still prefer to use a Provost comparatively to using foil, unless like I have to, or that's what I'm prepared to use and stuff. But like when I'm at home and I'm ready to smoke, like this is a tool at my disposal, so I feel like I should use it if I want to. This is all for testing, very scientific testing right now, obviously. You also have to be careful when you're packing with a traditional and Turkish style bowl that you don't plug any of the holes, obviously. You want to make sure that you leave enough air gap between it. You also want to be careful with the amount that you put in there, just because you don't want it to touch the tinfoil and you don't want to burn it right away. Even though there are some methods where people would create a crust or a layer where they would burn the top of it. An old-fashioned way of smoking to apple, right, is to burn a layer, the top layer of it, and that's kind of like your layer that's just singed, and then it locks in all the flavor underneath it, and that's what you're smoking the majority of the session and stuff. That's like an old school way of smoking it. I feel like I want to like this style more than I actually do. I prefer smoking with a Provost over doing this, but I still prefer the HMD above both of those. So for me, it's right now, it's HMD, Provost, and then foil with coal on it. This is a very good way to smoke it. You're definitely getting the flavor. You're definitely experiencing AF in everything that it has to offer. This is a very good mix. But I would prefer to use a Provost. You know what I mean? Like, that's just what I would prefer to do. Just because it keeps that heat, it's going to last a little bit longer. The metal is going to radiate heat as well and stuff. Like, it's just my personal preference. I don't know. It's all subjective. This is all just for fun. How do you like to smoke AF? However you like it is the best way to smoke it, right? Smoke what you like and like what you smoke. I'm going to continue to enjoy this bowl. I'm going to keep on smoking it. Make sure you sub to the channel, drop a like on it, hit the bell icon so you know the moment a new video goes live. And the next video in the series, the last video of the AF series, the best way to smoke AF, is going to be on the Gemini Bowl. So make sure you tune back in for how to smoking with the Gemini Bowl if you're interested on stuff about the Gemini and using AF inside the Gemini, because that's what I'm doing next. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it as always. And until next time, I'll see you when the smoke clears.